Have you ever wondered why the issue of Palestine still remains unresolved after all these years? An intriguing question, isn't it? It's a topic that has been at the forefront of global consciousness for decades, a conundrum that's puzzled world leaders and ignited passionate debates among scholars, politicians, and ordinary citizens alike. The question of Palestine is not just about a piece of land. It's about history, identity, and the struggle for self-determination. It's about the clash of ideologies, the interplay of power, and the human cost of conflict. The issue is steeped in complexities, ensnared in a web of politics, religion, and geopolitics. It's a puzzle that has been scrutinized under the international spotlight, yet remains obfuscated by layers of misunderstanding and misinterpretation. So, why does this issue persist? Why does it continue to captivate the world's attention and stir our collective consciousness? To understand this, it's crucial to delve into the annals of history. The roots of the Palestine issue trace back to the late 19th and early 20th century. This was a time when the world was witnessing the birth of a movement that would forever change the face of the Middle East, the Zionist movement. Originating in Europe, the Zionist movement was spurred by the desire for a homeland for the Jewish people, a sanctuary from the widespread anti-Semitism they faced. This longing for a homeland led many Jewish people to migrate to Palestine, a land deeply entrenched in religious history and significance. However, this was not an empty land waiting for its people to return. It was home to a thriving Arab population who had been living there for centuries. As we move into the early 20th century, the Balfour Declaration comes into play. In 1917, Britain, who was then in control of Palestine, issued this declaration. It stated Britain's support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. However, it also attempted to balance this with the assurance that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine. This delicate balance, however, proved to be more challenging to maintain than anticipated. The influx of Jewish immigrants into Palestine under the British Mandate intensified the already existing tensions between the Jewish immigrants and the Arab population. The Arab community felt their rights and their very existence on their ancestral land were being threatened. Both sides held deep historical and emotional ties to the land, both had legitimate grievances, and both had aspirations for self-determination. But the growing tensions were not adequately addressed. No effective measures were taken to ensure peaceful coexistence between the two communities. The seeds of conflict were sown, setting the stage for the tumultuous years that were to follow. The struggle for Palestine was not just a political issue. It was, and still is, a human issue, deeply rooted in history, identity, and a longing for a place to call home. The end of World War II brought about significant changes in the Palestine landscape. As the dust of the war settled, an influx of Jewish refugees arrived in Palestine, forever changing the demographic makeup of the region. These refugees, survivors of the Holocaust, were seeking a safe haven, a place to call home after enduring unspeakable atrocities. This wave of immigration was not without controversy, as the land of Palestine was already home to a significant Arab population. The tensions between the newly arrived Jewish immigrants and the existing Arab residents began to rise, leading to a period of unrest and conflict. In an attempt to address this escalating situation, the United Nations stepped in. In 1947, the UN proposed a partition plan to divide Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem under international administration. This plan was accepted by the Jewish Agency for Palestine, but rejected by the Arab leaders and the Palestinian Arab population. The rejection of the partition plan led to the outbreak of civil war. Then, in 1948, the State of Israel was created, a moment that is celebrated by Israelis as their day of independence, but mourned by Palestinians as the Nakba, or catastrophe. The creation of Israel was not accepted by neighboring Arab countries, which led to the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. This war resulted in an Israeli victory and a significant change in the region's geopolitical map. The aftermath of the war saw many Palestinians displaced from their homes, adding another layer to an already complex situation. The implications of these events continue to reverberate through the region today. The 1948 war set the stage for a series of subsequent wars and conflicts, creating a cycle of violence that has yet to be broken. The creation of Israel marked a turning point, leading to a series of wars and conflicts. In recent decades, the Palestine issue has seen a series of ups and downs. Let's take a brief journey through recent history. The Six-Day War of 1967 marked a significant shift, with Israel capturing the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem. This event left an indelible mark on the region's socio-political landscape. Then came the Oslo Accords in the early 90s, a hopeful moment when peace seemed possible. These accords promised mutual recognition and peace, but the dream was short-lived. The promised statehood for Palestine remains unfulfilled, and tensions have continued to mount. Fast forward to the current state of affairs. The humanitarian crisis in the region is heartbreaking. People are grappling with limited access to basic necessities like clean water, healthcare, and educational facilities. The land, steeped in history and culture, is now a battlefield. The issue remains contentious, with peace seeming elusive. But where does this leave us, as global citizens today? In a world so interconnected, we can no longer afford to turn a blind eye to the plight of our fellow human beings. The issue of Palestine is not a remote problem, but a question of human rights, of justice, and of our shared humanity. Raising awareness about this issue is not just a responsibility, it is a necessity. We can no longer sit on the fence, uninvolved and uninformed. We must educate ourselves about the complex realities, about the history and the struggles, and then share this knowledge with others. Why? Because understanding fosters empathy. Empathy leads to action, and action can bring about change. Whether it's through conversations with friends, social media posts, or peaceful demonstrations, every voice counts. Every voice can make a difference. Knowledge is power, and by spreading awareness, we can all contribute to a brighter future for Palestine.